Hello, welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Alvin Stoltari, and I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. Over the last year or so, I've been featuring each Fille Du Roi, or King's daughter, and getting to know their stories a little bit better. There are over 700 of them, and I'm on episode 158. So we've come a long way, but we've got a long way to go. So today we are going to be exploring a brand new Fille Du Roi. But before we begin, let me show you ways that you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. Subscribe, like, notify. Those are easy. The next three are a little deeper dive, and we have Patreon, which you can do a monthly subscription. We have Ko-fi, which is kind of a one-shot donation, and also I have my Etsy channel or shop where I've done some digital downloads for things. So have a look at that if that's something that would interest you. And without further ado, let's get started. So we are on episode 158, Florimonde, Rableau, who is a viewer request. So let's get to know Florimonde a little bit better. So let's get to know Florimonde. Don't you love that name? She was born about 1645 in Paris. Her parents were Maître Rableau and Marie Dubois. And the arrondissement, remember we talked about Paris and how it's laid out in circular fashion. She is part of the 4th arrondissement. And the church that she would have been baptized would have been Sainte Marie, which dates from approximately the 10th century. The arrondissement, the 4th arrondissement, is part of a very, very old part of Paris. It sits on the right bank of the river, I was going to say the Rivière Seine, the River Seine, and most of the eastern part of the Ile de la Cité, which includes Notre-Dame de Paris, and all of the Ile Saint-Honoré are also part of that 4th arrondissement. So it's a very, very prestigious area, very known for its, now, for its bistros and cafes and everything you would think of for Paris. That's the 4th arrondissement. So that is where she comes from. So Florimonde comes to New France. We don't know the particulars. We only know that she sailed on the Saint-Jean-Baptiste de Dieppe, and she arrived in Quebec on June 18, 1665. Just as a twist of fate, the video I just did, 157, Gillette Savard, also arrived. Just happened that they were on that same boat. So who knows if they talked or got to know each other. So the groom that she selected and who selected her, his name was Pierre Chamard, and he was born in 1635 in the region of France known as La Rochelle. Saint-Hilaire was the parish. So just so you know, the region of France is Nouvelle-Aquitaine, and inside that region, Charente-Maritime, and inside that is the city of La Rochelle. His parents were Jean Chamard and Jeanne Pipette, and just to give you a little history about La Rochelle, it was founded during the 10th century and became an important harbor in the 12th century. Until the 15th, La Rochelle was to be the largest French harbor on the Atlantic coast. The name actually comes from a Latin meaning little rock, and La Rochelle has been one of the richest histories of all the towns of France. From its beginnings as an area where the Knights of Templar had their strongest base. Eleanor married Henry Plantagenet in 1152, who then became King of England, putting La Rochelle under Plantagenet rule, which began the whole Protestant versus Catholic issue. Louis VIII captured it back in the 1224 siege of La Rochelle. During the Plantagenet control of the city, Henry II had the Vauclair Castle, which you can still see. It's really an amazing place, and it is here where many of the people from La Rochelle sought refuge in the New World because they needed that religious freedom, and they were not being treated very well. So we want to acknowledge that there's so many, like for example, even in things as silly as the Dick Van Dyke Show, we have New Rochelle, La Rochelle. And so this is the area, that church there is Saint-Hilaire, where he would have been baptized. This is an area, kind of the moat that surrounds the particular parish. Just a really, really remarkable place to be from. So they were married in Quebec City on October 13th, 1665. So they didn't waste much time. Now they settled at Charlebourg, which is a borough now of Quebec City, in the northeastern part of that city. And the origins of Charlebourg began with the concession of the Seigneurie of Notre-Dame des Anges in 1626. The seigneurie extended, very far from the Charles River to parts, to a lot of parts of that city now. In 1665, the new intendant of justice, Châtillon, he set out to establish a new city, kind of cut out a thing. And this obviously caused friction with the Jesuits, who were the seigneurs of the area. The first of the villages he created was built on a 25 arpents. Remember, arpents is like their version of acres. It's a square so it's a square within a square. And so if you can look at Charlebourg, it actually in the middle has that little tiny square, and all of the land is like a spoke, like a star shape, in other words. And so we have Charlebourg, we have Bourg-Royal, and we have the Petite Auvergne that was all kind of laid out this way. And this is an aerial view on your left of I think it was taken in the 1960s, so you can see it has retained that look, if you will. And you can see on the map where Charlebourg is, it looks much further than it really is. And then we have the Saint-Charles de Borromée church that was established. We also have the church, a depiction of the church as it would have existed in 1696. So I always like to include that, just to kind of give you that flavor. So Florimonde would give birth to 4 children. Françoise, who died in infancy, Nicolas, who would marry Marie-Jeanne Renaud and have 6 children, all of whom would survive. Pierre would go on to marry Marguerite Lauzon and have 1 child, who did survive. And we have Guillaume, who died as well in infancy. So a tragic early death for our beautiful Florimonde. She would be 26 years old and pass away most presumably from childbirth issues, August 13th, 61, and she is buried at Charlebourg. Her and Pierre would have been married a mere, 6 years from 1666, not even actually. Just a really tragic, and as so many of them could not survive. So the story will continue on episode number 159 as we explore who Pierre marries and how he brings the 2 children that he has, how he brings them into a new family. So stay with me as we will explore episode 159 and get to know who Pierre finds to continue his life with. As always, I like to give you resources. La Société des Filles du Roi, the King's Daughter Society. I'm a member. I'm also the membership chair. It's a fabulous website to go on and explore. Obviously, if you're interested in joining, that's a wonderful thing. You get a lovely certificate. Quebec Genealogical E-Society. We have Nos Origines. We have Généalogie Québec, which is a paying site, but well worth it. Migration. It is a free site, but I do donate to assist and make sure that they keep doing what they're doing because it's amazing. Have a look at that. And then we have the Facebook group, Les Fille Du Roi Descendant. Fabulous place to kind of connect the dots, if you will. So ends our very short story on Florimonde. She came to New France and she gave us what she could. And for that, we are grateful. And obviously, my viewer can pay homage to the fact that despite her very, very short life, her memory and her donation or contribution to this place carries on. So I'd love to hear from more descendants of Florimonde. She had at the end I believe it was 34 descendants as of 1729. So I'd love to see, how that grew. So let me know in the comments below if this is your great grandmother. Thanks so much for watching. And until I see you on episode 159, au revoir.